2 weeks after leaving Singapore on the last stage of this global marathon, the fleet limped into Qingdao in northern China. For every member of every team, relief, and a priceless opportunity to service and repair the many working parts of these 68-foot yachts. In the crisp winter air, the dock is buzzing with essential maintenance. Inside one of the many buildings at the Olympic Sailing Centre, home of the sailing events at the 2008 Olympic Games, work on the sails is in full swing. Repairing the tough, heavyweight material is a hard physical job.
You know, you don't get muscles by, moving the sails. You get them by fixing them. Very tedious, very small jobs that take forever.
At every port so far, there's been a list of maintenance jobs. But the lists have never been this long.
Low damage on pretty much every sail because possibly the hardest leg that we will have on this race.
The race from Singapore has taken its toll. For 2 grueling weeks, the crews battled huge waves and storm-force winds. Boats and sailors were tested to the limits. In near freezing temperatures, the crews prepare for the next ocean race. And it's the longest so far. 4,400 miles across the largest ocean on the planet towards the remote island destination of Hawaii. And with 6 races already gone and 10 points for a win, finishing in a podium position is more important than ever. Start day has arrived. The Pacific Ocean beckons. Crowds line the dockside as the clipper crews say last goodbyes before leaving the comforts of land behind once again. One by one, the 10 international yachts slip their lines and move off into the chilly waters. Qingdao watches as race 7 of the Clipper Round the World Yacht Race begins. Ahead, weeks of grueling ocean racing. The challenge continues. But the next morning, a surprise. Winter has followed the boats out to sea. Only miles off the freezing Chinese coast, the fleet has been hit by a snowstorm.
My toes are freezing in these rubber boots with 2 pairs of socks. It was a wonderful experience. I've been on mountains with snow falling and so on. It was the first time on the sea.
For the crews of the Clipper race, nothing is too bizarre.
When they said come to sunny Hawaii, I said I was going to sunny Hawaii. I forgot the bit where it started in snowy China.
On board Uniquely Singapore, skipper Mark Preedy is doing his best to make the boat safe.
What we've got to do now, actually, is try and think of how to get the snow off the deck. Because it's a bit too slippery to move around, really, and unsafe. So just need a clip on just to make sure we're not going to slip over and go over the board.
For the sailors of the Clipper race, it's yet another story to tell friends and family back home. Over the next few days, the winds return and the Clipper fleet blasts out into the wide expanse of the Pacific Ocean. With huge seas and high speeds, the yachts make good progress. South to the tip of Japan, then full speed ahead towards the Hawaiian island paradise. But for Western Australia 2011.com, there's another surprise in store.
Oh, what did you do? Right underneath it. Where's it gone?
Their 90-foot mast snaps in 2.
It's just unbelievable. Here we were sitting out. I was sitting on the deck repairing the gloves, rope burn. Next thing, crash. The mast is just hanging down. We're just gobsmacked. It wasn't windy. There were no untoward conditions. It's just been one of those things.
Stranded in the world's largest ocean, the yacht is in a frightening situation. The crew must tidy up the carnage and make the boat safe as fast as possible. The only professional sailor on board is the skipper, 38-year-old Martin Silk. Climbing what's left of the mast, Martin starts to cut the sails free. Fully rigged, the mast weighs nearly a ton. This now hangs precariously over the side of the boat.
Right, we need someone ready to cut those lines with a sharp knife. Ready to cut the halyards!
Working together, the crew sift through the wreckage. And after an hour's cutting and slicing, the mast sinks slowly towards the ocean floor. Across the fleet, the boats are making good progress towards the finish line in Hawaii. Strong winds are producing some tight racing. But nearly 1,000 miles behind them, the crew of Western Australia 2011.com are fighting their own battle. Stranded with a broken mast and with not enough fuel on board to motor to safety, the crew must construct a jury rig to hoist enough sail to move forwards. In huge seas and a building wind, they edge ever closer to Hawaii. Only 8 days after the Pacific Ocean claimed the mast of their Southern Hemisphere counterparts, Durban 2010 and beyond have suffered the same fate.
And this massive wave came and I thought, that's a bizarre looking wave, and bang. To be honest, it probably wasn't the wave, it was just the stress level at the mast at that point and probably the angle it got hit with. And then it just bang and fell to the side.
The mast has snapped at deck level, and 80 foot of aluminium hangs dangerously over the side. Any sudden swing, and it could pierce the hull. The crew works quickly to cut it free. With the boat secure, skipper Ricky Chalmers must decide what to do next.
They're thinking of diverting another boat to us because they don't think we'll make it on fuel. We don't have any real chance of jury rigging anything. We'll try with the spinnaker pole. Stick that up into the stump, lash it down and try and get a sail going. But realistically, we're 700 miles from Hawaii, so it's going to be a motor.
It's an unthinkable tragedy, and for the crew on board, yet another challenge in this once-in-a-lifetime experience. With the mast gone, Durban 2010 and beyond begins the long trip to Hawaii. But even though they're close enough to motor, they're short of fuel. A mid-ocean rendezvous with their closest boat is arranged. Uniquely, Singapore are the first to see their stricken competitor.
Four guys on Durban having a bit of a rough time because they haven't got a mast and a mainsail to stabilise the boat. So they've lost a ton of weight and they're a lot more buoyant. They're really pitching up and down in this sea. Must be fairly uncomfortable for them.
For the crew of Durban 2010 and beyond, there's no choice but to fill up and soldier on. 1,000 miles behind, Western Australia 2011.com have no other boats around them. The remote island of Midway is their only option. They tie up to refuel for the long journey to Hawaii. Skipper Danny Watson and his team.
It's great to be up there. It's great to actually be getting another pennant, and it's these guys that deserve the praise because they're the ones that have actually kept the belief as well that we should be up there. So let's keep going.
They're followed closely in by the rest of the fleet, each boat securing a victory of their own as they arrive safely at the dock after their marathon ocean crossing. In the tropical island heat, the snows of northern China seem a world away. But it's the arrival of Durban 2010 and beyond that draws the biggest crowd. In the last 4 weeks, they've endured a challenge none of the crew ever expected. It's a warm and well-deserved welcome. Over the next few days, all but one boat arrives safely in the harbour. The longest stage of the Clipper Round the World Yacht Race is over.